new situation.
Your Worship, I would like to move an amendment to the amendment that the children's program, Civic Centre grounds fee, the fee be $3 an hour.
Rather than 6. Do we have a second of that amendment?
Can you move an amendment to an amendment?
We're allowed one amendment.
I'll second that.
One more time. On the amendment only.
On the amendment, I speak against the amendment, Your Worship. I can still feel the use of fees for children should not be of any extent. Alderman Lakes made a very good presentation, and he's quite concealed, and I'm quite concealed in mine. We're talking about concerns with taxpayers, Your Worship. We have had many expenditures in the last 2 years regarding taxpayers. One is, if you're talking about liabilities, and that's certainly just what it is, of liability. We have a liability. Let's face it, the parks are liabilities. And we're going to worry about liabilities, and we certainly have to. We might as well close our library, stop our buses. There are many areas where we are at a deficit, and I'm afraid we're never going to get out of it. We borrow money constantly. We are anticipating borrowing $240,000 for downtown revitalization, which will be an added burden on the taxpayers as well, Your Worship. I feel that today's child will be tomorrow's citizen, and how you treat him now, you're going to certainly get a return from him in kind. And I just do not see this. I can't believe it. During the Depression, we never charged user fees. Of course, it's a different situation now, Your Worship. But I'm afraid that it will not end tonight. This issue will not end tonight. I'm afraid it possibly could go on, and I'm not going to be the instigator, and I have not been the instigator, as some people think I have been. That this will not end at the table tonight. I can assure you, if we implement this fee structure tonight, I can assure you, the Badminton Club is experiencing financial difficulty as of now. That the only players you'll have in the Civic Centre grounds or in the Civic Centre itself will be dancing spiders. And I kid you not.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Yes, Alderman O'Brien.
In reference to the fact that the city is spending $240,000 in borrowing money, let's get the facts straight and make sure that that's unknown or is known that it's a forgivable grant, and when money is completely spent and when it's utilized, it will be forgiven. The total cost, that is not money that's being borrowed at the city's expense, therefore. Secondly, in terms of recreation, I think that this council, and perhaps the one behind it, has very definitely seen the terrible state of the fields in this town. And that's specifically why I ended up on this council, was for the specific reason that we lost park space, and we're trying to build park space. And this year, this council has spent $600,000 on a lakeside park fill, and I think that's a pretty big commitment to recreation. And I don't think that should be downgraded in any way, shape, or form. I think those things must be remembered when we're recognizing this. The third thing is, we're talking about summer users, we're talking about field rates, and nobody seems to have brought up the fact that all your Alderman Lake brought it up, but it was just kind of disappeared in the figures, that all your children, in terms of all the winter users, we are recovering 50% of our operating program. You're recovering it for minor hockey, you're recovering it for figure skating, you're recovering it for the 2 schools, and you're recovering it for public skating. And these things seem to be glossed over. It doesn't seem quite fair that the winter users pay the shot and the summer users don't. They all live in the same city, or else 40% of them, I should say, live outside the city, and we haven't come up with a way to get them yet.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'd just like to ask Alderman Lake a couple of questions. The cost/user column, is that the cost per season for a participant?
If you take the next column, Alderman Dirks, which is the total, that would be the total fee for 1982 under the new rates, provided the number of hours of usage and the number of participants was the same as 1981. and divide that by the number of users, it would give you a cost per user for minor soccer. Providing the number of users was the same and the hours were the same, the cost per user would be $4.58. That's an upcharge from zero
Per season.
Okay, so,
per season.
okay, so if you had, 375 participants, you're looking at what, about 400 hours of minor soccer, is that right?
364.
400 and some odd hours of soccer?
That's correct.
So you're actually looking at about a cent an hour
That's correct.
per participant.
Yes.
We're wasting a lot of time, Mr. Chairman, on something that is very minuscule in comparison to what the major tax load is going to look like this year.
I realize that, Alderman Dirks, but the thing is, that there was nothing charged last year, and I think we might be making a big mistake in going with a large increase this year. I think we should cut her in half. That's my personal feeling, but the majority will rule. Is there any more, anybody else want to talk on
Just
the?
one, Your Worship, to Mr. Lake. In your cost fees, you've stated 10,000 plus to operate the new field when it's in place. So have your user fees for soccer, be it senior soccer, women's soccer, or children's, is that included? You
User
feel
fees
that-
have not been set for the new field yet.
So they're
Should
going to
that-
face an increase again in 1983?
No, I would anticipate that we would separate, or we would adopt separate user fees for that, based on the number of users through the Recreation Commission, and based on the facilities that go into place there this year.
Hopefully the school board.
We would anticipate through the school board, who has indicated they will support it, and through our own charge on use, recovering some 50% of the.
Okay, well, maybe then it would be a benefit to the public and those in the audience to know whether Mr. Adams feels that the senior soccer people and the minor soccer people are going to be able to use that new landfill in 1982, and they're not having to face playing on the field in the condition it's been. They'll have a new field by the fall of 82,
By the fall of 82.
but not before.
No.
So that's something they have to anticipate, that they'll be able to use it in 1983 and probably by 82.
Alderman Ramsden, further to your point, I think that just on preliminarily working those figures through, it is likely the user fee will have to be higher there.
Well, I would assume so by the cost you've shown. In anticipation, we don't know what it would be. I just wanted
If
them
we are to recover 50% of operating costs, they will have to be higher than they are for the present field.
So we could anticipate that if we hadn't increased them to $8, as you're now proposing, instead of 10, that next year on the new field they might have been paying 12, and it had gone up from the past year's rate of $4 to 12. It would have been a tougher
That was
adjustment to
part
make.
of the cost, yeah.
Well, I was prepared to speak against the motion as it was originally, and Your Worship, I'm quite in favor of the reduction that Mr. Lakes has proposed, and a further reduction in the children's.
Okay, we've debated long enough, I think. I'll call the question on the amendment. First, the last amendment.
The amendment to the amendment?
An amendment to the amendment, yes. All in favor? Opposed? Wish to be recorded? So that defeats the other amendment.
The amendment,
Okay,
the amendment, the amendment.
so that defeats the other amendment.
No, you have still have to vote on the amendment.
Okay.
That's just $3 part.
That's
You don't even vote on the other one, do you?
It was a motion that the civic center recommendation
Oh.
accepted.
We're voting on the First Amendment then?
yes.
Yeah.
Voting on Alderman Lake amendment now.
Which now reads 10 and 3, not 10 and
yeah.
4.
Right.
Okay.
8.
10
8.
I mean 8, sorry, that was a, that was.
8
that
and
was
4.
slap.
8 and 3 now.
Three.
Read it back.
All in favor? Opposed to any? Wish to be recorded?
Yes, Your Worship.
That was a motion as amended.
Now I'd like to have a motion as amended.
Vote on the motion.
We'll have to have a mover for a motion as amended.
No, just a vote.
A vote? All in favor? Opposed of any? Carried. Wish to be recorded, Alderman?
Yes,
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for present here tonight. If you want to stay and listen to the rest of the meeting, you're quite at liberty to do so.
Well, this is part of your valuable piece of information that I couldn't.
Item 3B is the recommendations from the Heritage Advisory Committee of February the 9th.
Your worship, I would like to move that they be received, and the recommendations, except for numbers 5, 8, and 10, be approved.
All these
5, 8, and 10.
not be approved. Yeah, okay, that's all. Yeah.
item number 3, we already did. We have 10%. We should approve that in your motion.
It's approved.
Excuse me, I can't hear anybody.
What was that again now, the items?
I'd like to delete from the acceptance, items number 5, 8, and 10, and deal with these separately.
Your worship, may I add, I would like a clarification of item number 2 from the administrator on May, please.
Pardon?
I would like a clarification of item number 2 from the administrator, please. On page 1.
I need a second.
Proposed heritage properties
Oh,
compensation bylaw. Please.
We need a second.
We had to have a second for it. Did you second, Alderman?
Yeah.
Right?
Your worship, my understanding from recommendation number 2 was that the Heritage Advisory Committee have requested or recommending to council that the Heritage Properties Compensation Bylaw be tabled pending receipt of the city administrator's report on the subject to city council. And further, that the city administrator be requested to attend the next regular meeting of this committee for his input into the subject bylaw.
You have attended the meeting, have you, Mr. Administrator?
I have attended a meeting of the Heritage Advisory Committee, and though the minutes of those meetings that meeting will be coming forward to council.
That's the only understanding that it will be coming.
Yes.
Thank you. I'll second Alderman Dirks.
Well, it's already been second, Alderman Drill. Sorry, it was late. Any further discussion?
Question?
All in favor? Carried. So you wanted to deal with number 5?
Yes, your worship, I would move that number 5 be referred to the budget committee.
Item 5. Do we have a second?
Oh, I'll second that.
Your worship, I would like to find out, first of all, I'd like to find out a little bit more about the informal reception, what it entails and so on. What our costs were for the open house of the Main Street program prior to, I think, what the council looking at this recommendation. I think budget time would be an appropriate time to look at it. We have sufficient time. I think that is in June. We have sufficient time to do so.
Yes,
My memory is failing me, but I thought we discussed this conference and this concept within the conference before. What am I?
Your worship, for clarification, the matter has already been referred, I believe, to budget.
It has?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm. Sounds like a
Yes.
Good.
Okay, that takes care of number 5.
Anyway.
What other items were referred?
Number 8 and number 10. And I would like to, I would move that the recommendation number 8 be denied, since there was already a mechanism put in place for the purchase of those copies at local bookstores. So I think it's rather redundant to look at it again.
You're saying that the local bookstores are selling it?
It
Or
is.
will be?
They will be, right. The cost of it, I believe, $8.25 to purchase.
There was a motion?
Yes.
A second motion.
Any
Question?
further discussion? I'll call the question.
Your Honor, I just wanted to reverse, the proposal is for reprinting. I wonder if they're going to run out of prints if they don't reprint. That is, will they have the copies available to sell if there's no reprinting?
This, I believe the way it stands that it would be reprinted, but it would be the only way that we would get an additional 425 copies would be to buy them, for the city to buy them and then distribute them. And when this came up, council decided that rather than purchase the 425 copies, that arrangements could be made through local bookstores for the purchase of them.
The motion reads that the Nelson make application to the British Columbia Heritage Trust for a grant to take care of this. It's not the city puts it out.
This is basically just reactivating something that is already, in my mind, has already been taken care of.
You feel that it's already been taken care of. It's not they're not asking the city to shell out they're asking for a grant.
That's true. Grants, however, though, come from taxpayers.
Yeah.
Why would we need 425 copies
I don't know.
to give away?
Well, this, I think, stems back to the original
They're quite expensive
agreement
copies,
that
I
we would
realize
get
that.
500 copies, or the city would get 500 copies of this. Well, I believe we received 75 copies. And so we're back looking for the other 425 copies.
Well, then it starts to make more sense. Why didn't we get the 425 hard copies? Did we get a reduction on our bill?
They were given to the city. They were at no charge to the city, if I remember
We were only
correctly.
guaranteed 500 if we paid for them?
No. We're only we're getting a little complicated here.
Sorry about that. I just like to get it straight in my mind.
Well, all they're asking is that the city make the application, Alderman Dirks. Not that they're asking the city to put money out for these copies.
Your worship,
I don't know whether
your worship,
you
may I
want to
ask,
pay on that motion or not.
Mr. Orman, did we not deal with this specific subject on that specific thing in a late December meeting?
I believe not. I don't believe it was dealing with this specific item. I think it was to do with what Alderman Dirks was alluding to, and that was that the booklets be available through the local bookstores.
Just seems that we've gone over the same.
But originally, when the study was first undertaken, it's the city's understanding that I believe it was 500 copies were going to be available to the city at no charge. But of course, as the study went on and the costs went up, the amount of copies available became less.
They never did explain why, other than
Well, other than the cost, of course, of doing the study.
What we do for 425 copies.
The cost, from an initial amount of $40,000 went up to something like $125,000. The provincial government felt that 75 copies was all they could afford.
The question may be then, what's the value of having more? What are we going to do with them?
Well, there was quite a demand for them, particularly from the longtime residents of Nelson. If they were available, they were even prepared to buy them if they know they're available. Now it's a question of how council wish to see them distributed. That's what you're dealing with now.
so you couldn't get a grant for them, have them printed, and then sell them, could you?
You already got them paid for.
Then you could
Times are
use
hard.
the soccer players.
What does the motion read there?
No, I'm quite serious. I mean, I'm asking a question.
That recommendation number 8, contained in the Heritage Advisory Committee minutes, be denied, since there is already a mechanism in place for the purchase of the copies of the study at local bookstores.
Your
You all
worship,
heard the,
I'm a little concerned that, I just want to raise the question whether not having these books might have an effect on the acceptability of the program. If they're a good sales gimmick for the program, I don't see how we could lose by applying for the grant to have them printed. If it's going to hurt the program not to have them, then I think we ought to be a little bit careful about not having them.
Your Worship, I think that's a very interesting point. I don't know, Alderman Dirks, what you would think of that. I certainly know that I have one of those lonely 75 copies, and it's probably the best PR that I've done around town, and I think that the school library happened to be second in terms of speed in getting them, and they are, you know, even in terms of younger population, well come through already. They've gone through one cover. Alderman McArthur has an interesting point, but are we following up our bookstores?
Well, Alderman Dirks, you're on the Heritage Committee. You weren't there when this meeting was taking place, and you didn't discuss this with them in regard to that.
No, Your Worship, I was not available for that meeting. That occurred the same day as I was in Vancouver. It's much superior, in my mind, it's a much superior book to the two books that were published by Thompson, Berwick, and Pratt. However, I would look at that. First of all, I would say, do we need the 425 copies? And the fact that it is a grant, I don't think really alters the situation. A grant comes from taxpayers somewhere. Maybe not directly from city coffers, but indirectly it certainly does. And so I would say that I'd question whether we really need 425 copies, especially at $8.25.
But there may have been some reason why this committee asked for them. I don't know. That's why you didn't have a chance to discuss this with any of the Heritage Committee members, saying why they needed them.
No, Your Worship.
Well, there's a question on the floor that this request be denied. All in favor? Opposed of any? Motion defeated.
Your Worship, is it in order for a tabling motion to get more information on why the,
Well, there's nothing wrong with tabling that section. If you'd like to table that until we get more information.
get information from the Heritage Advisory as to just exactly why they
why
want
they
that?
need them? That might be the best way.
I think the reason they want additional copies is they just simply want to dish them out to the public and make them aware of the. But it would now be in order for council to refer this matter back to the Heritage Advisory Committee or whoever you wish for additional information.
So we're reasoning why they want them.
I would so move.
I second that.
Question?
All in favor? Opposed of any? Motion is carried. What other item was there, Alderman Dirks?
Number 10, Your Worship, and I feel that I would prefer, I believe that motion was actually out of order. I would say that it's out of order in that the chamber was requested for their input, and I don't think that we really wanted to start a dialogue between the chamber and the Heritage Advisory Committee.
In other words, you would indicate this should have been answered in a letter to the Heritage Advisory Committee, from the Heritage Advisory Committee to the Chamber of Commerce,
No,
or at least answered when they put anything in?
I don't think that it required any kind of an answer. They were requested by council. The Chamber of Commerce was requested by council for their input. That input came back to council, and that's where it should remain.
So, second.
All in favor? Opposed of any? Carried.
Item 3C C is the recommendations from the Advisory Planning Commission, February 15th.
Move we accept the, minutes and the recommendations.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried.
Thank you.
Item 4 is the accounts payable disbursements for approval for the period ending February 3rd, 1982.
Move approval?
Second that.
Any discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried.
Item 5 is an audience with Ms. Peneta Shanes regarding the smoking control bylaw.
Yes.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm coming in to you tonight because I want to present you with concerns of mine around the health issue which I feel is within the mandate of the municipality to regulate. You've all, I'm sure, received my letter outlining my concerns, and I don't have any more beyond the letter to say because they're clearly delineated. So I'll just read that. The concern which I share, or which I have, and for which I want to explore solutions with you, has to do with this, that there are no mechanisms in place whereby both customers and employees are prohibited from smoking in supermarkets. A health hazard exists when people smoke around open foods such as baked goods and meat, drop cigarette butts on the supermarket floor, and handle food such as produce while holding cigarettes. I have repeatedly observed these behaviors in all 3 supermarkets in Nelson. Although there are no smoking signs in 2 of the 3 supermarkets, they are not very visible. No store has placed such signs at their entrances. Thus, there is no indication to customers upon entering the market that smoking is not allowed. Furthermore, no store manager with whom I spoke indicated that no smoking is enforced by their own management. I have spoken with the managers of all 3 supermarkets. 2 have stated they would enforce a municipal bylaw prohibiting smoking within the stores. I have also spoken with Dr. Terry Pagan, the medical health officer at the Southbrook Health Unit, in order to find out the degree to which the BC Health Act can regulate smoking in premises where food is handled. Under the regulations of that Act, Section 4C prohibits employees from smoking in any area or room where food is processed or stored. It does not, however, cover customers in such premises. Now, precedents exist in other municipalities for the prohibition of smoking in public places, such as supermarkets. Victoria, for instance, has successfully implemented no smoking regulations in public places, such as restaurants. Toronto has passed a municipal bylaw prohibiting smoking in public places. In view of these facts, I would like to propose that the mayor and members of council consider passing a municipal bylaw in which smoking is prohibited in Nelson supermarkets and in which no smoking signs to that effect must be posted at the entrances of the supermarkets. I just want to further my argument. By saying that I checked into the Municipal Health Act to see, or rather the Municipal Act, to see if any of its sections really legally give you a mandate to regulate this. And I found that in Part 18, Section 692, the city has the mandate to regulate persons and their premises and activities to further the care, protection, and promotion of health of inhabitants of the municipality. And subsection 1B of section 692 says that the municipality may make regulations prohibiting the creation of unsanitary conditions. C, under that same section, says that the municipality may require a person to remedy or remove unsanitary conditions. Now, I think that's a clear mandate, saying that the municipality can make a bylaw which
What chapter was that?
Section 692.
which would regulate this. Now, my request is very, very specific. I'm asking that the smoking be prohibited in very specific places that are already regulated by the BC Health Act, which only covers employees. It's not extensive enough. And I'm referring to supermarkets and grocery stores, like bakers,